Good evening and welcome to Paranormal Path Peeps. Hope you've all had a wonderful day. Tonight's guest, we have Penny Griffiths Morgan. How are you doing? I spoken to you a while ago.
You did? Yep. I am the proverbial bad penny, really, because I keep coming back round.
Yeah, don't you just? And I forgot to click on the button, but hey ho.
Hey
Because
ho.
because StreamYard's let me down again, but there you go. I totally expected it. But yeah, gone to 2 destinations. Hey, hi Emily. Hope
It's my
you're
daughter.
well.
It's my daughter, my adopted daughter.
Oh, isn't she lovely from Category Paranormal? I've remembered. I'm
Isn't
usually
she?
rubbish with names, so yeah.
Well,
But
you
you
know,
do.
her mum's adopted Will, my
Oh, I
15-year-old, and I've got
see.
Emily. So yeah, I've got the better
Uh,
end of the bargain.
I didn't know that.
No,
Oh,
no.
wow.
That's why she calls me mum.
Oh,
I'm her adopted
incredible.
mum. Yeah, and
Yeah.
her mum's Will's adopted mum. So Helen's her. So yeah, we swapped.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hi, Mason, and welcome. So, Mason started joining us from YouTube. So, thanks so much. So it's the 80th anniversary today of the liberation of Auschwitz, which, wow, just seeing it all, like so many people at the time since then haven't actually spoken up, have they? You know what I mean? Like I know somebody who was in one of the stalags. He would
Mhm.
never say a word about it. But some of the
I
stories coming through now.
I actually met someone because in my day job, hi
Oh
Nando, hi
gosh.
Mark. In my day job, I deal with the elderly, and it's a good few years ago now. And these people were telling me that their mum was in, well, she escaped. I think it was 5 different camps. In the end, they put her in Auschwitz.
Oh my
And she was
gosh.
actually on the death march when they took a load of them out to try and basically march them to death. And she faked being dead, so she was left at the roadside and escaped the death march.
My
She
gosh.
wasn't even Jewish; she was Polish. And it was when, at the beginning, when they invaded Poland, they took loads and loads of Polish people to work, in effect, in the camps as workers, not as death camps, but as work camps.
Wow.
And what really, really got me, I got to meet her. She was very poorly with dementia. She didn't remember, but she had the tattoo, and she had short
Yeah.
sleeves on, and so I saw the number tattoo on
Yeah.
her arm. I can't actually convey how that made me feel, because
Oh wow.
it was a combination of I can't even think what the combination. It was horror. It was amazement that it was real. It
Mm.
was all the sort of things that I had read and learned about the concentration camps at that point in my head.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember holding her hand, and she's this lovely lady, and she just went, "Oh, I'm nothing special." I was like, "You
Oh,
are.
bless her.
You're a survivor." But to
Yes.
see an actual tattoo, and like I say, she wasn't Jewish; she was Polish, so she was there as one of the workers. But they still hid the fact that they had people in these camps. That's why they tried to kill them off at the end when they knew the Allies were coming. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
oversimplifying it, but that's
Well, yeah,
basically
that's
it.
right. Yeah.
But she,
That's
to see one of those tattoos in, in real life, not on a
I've seen
photo,
it.
not in a
I've seen
museum.
it. Yeah. It's
It's but the interesting thing is there's a I don't there's a chap on TikTok who does Holocaust education.
oh wow.
Giddon something. He was in Terence. I can never pronounce it. Terenstad,
Oh,
one of the other
okay.
camps,
Okay.
and he sort of he's getting elderly now, so his partner actually does more of the education because he's quite poorly. And she said that, they have people come up to him and say, "You can't have been a Holocaust victim. You haven't got a tattoo." And he'll be saying, "Well,
Oh
look,
gosh.
Auschwitz was one of the only camps that did the tattoos. Most of the other camps didn't." So, and also, I think that even though today is Auschwitz's anniversary, there was thousands of
Yeah.
camps. There wasn't just one. And it's also looking at, there were different camps. So there were work camps, there were concentration camps, there were pure death camps. Hi, Kyle. Kyle, for anyone who doesn't know, who's just put, hey, what's up?
Hey.
He's from White Hill Mansion in New Jersey. And actually, Kyle, I was editing the podcast today. So hopefully that'll be going up in the next few days. But thank you for coming by.
Awesome. So please share the podcast when it's on.
I will.
Definitely,
I will say.
Yeah, onto the page.
My favourite battleground. Oh, can I talk a bit more about the Holocaust?
Yeah.
And I'll come back to you on that, Jim. I'll have to.
I just clicked that for a good evening, ladies, and then hi.
I don't mind, but I'm gonna have to think about that one a bit.
Yeah, that's right.
What was I saying? Yeah, so you did get the pure death camps, places like Treblinka and stuff, where I'm sure from when the train came in, they'd killed everyone within 2 hours of coming in, and it kind of, for me, I can't. I'm normally quite good with history at logic, making it like finding some kind of logic, not saying acceptance, but some kind of logic as to, okay, so they did this because of this. I don't agree with it, but that's why they did it.
Yeah.
This attack on a religious sector, you know, I've never been able to rationalize how so many people could partake in it. In this murder, this relentless. I have never ever. I mean, I can understand shooting an opposition shot soldier. That, you know, if they're holding a gun towards you,
it's
kill or be
killed. Battle, but it's the innocence and
shooting
children, everything.
Pilot shooting down another pilot.
Yeah,
I get it. I get that.
Yeah.
I even kind of get when court martials, when someone's up against a firing squad, kind of get that because it's the rule.
Yeah, but this is
yeah. My favorite is right. I've thought of an answer to this one for you, Jim. Well, my mind is going woo at the moment.
Oh, bless you.
I've got quite a lot of favorite battlegrounds I've visited, and quite a lot that I want to visit. One of the ones that it wasn't really a battleground, but it was a site of quite a big skirmish. It's off one of the Normandy beaches, and it's called Point du Hoc. And it was like a German gun emplacement at the top of one of the cliffs. It was one of the American beaches. I think it was Utah. It could be Omaha. It was either Utah or Omaha.
I've been to those. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Utah or Omaha off the top of my head right now. But basically, it was the one that the Navy were bombarded to soften it, for want of a better term, before the Americans went up the cliff face to invade.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The reason it's one of my favorites is it looks like a lunar surface. You can't imagine there actually have ever being guns there. Mm-hmm. But also it's where I had a weird experience. We were there one summer visiting because I was introducing my eldest, more than the younger one, to D-Day and what people went through. And as I was walking around, I heard someone clear as a bell behind me go, "Scheiße, Scheiße!" And I turned round to my son and said, "Was that you?" And he went, "There's no one here, Mum." And the bit we were in, there was not a single person there. And it was all rubble, so nobody could have been hiding.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I just saw
my dog.
My dog was just eating something on the table, and I was just checking. He's licking the plate. He's licking the plate. I'm so sorry.
Any opportunity.
We do feed him, but I think he's saying, "I'll save some of the dishwashing, Mum. I'll clean the plates for you."
Yeah, well, you're not looking at him or paying attention, are you? That's it. That's what they do. Well, mine's snoring, so you might hear that in a bit. Yeah,
no, he's licking one of the plates. I don't know why the husband didn't actually take them through, but anyway, what was I going to say? So I heard this. So that's been one that.
Did your son hear it?
No. Just me. But I don't speak German, but when I spoke to someone who was German, and because the Germans who were there did not expect this bombardment, it's a good probability they would have been swearing, and Scheiße is a swear word.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Possibly.
It's the wrong one that rhymes with bit.
Yeah,
I can imagine them shouting that when they've got all these things raining down on them.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
at the time, I didn't really know the history of the area. It was only afterwards that I looked it up. So, and I couldn't work out why it looked like a lunar landscape with craters and everything. But
Wow.
it's definitely break your ankle territory. But yeah, so that's been one of my favourites.
Yeah.
I enjoy. I mean, I enjoy researching most things.
Yeah.
To be honest.
But you do like the sort of the war history sort of thing, don't you?
I am interested in
girls, things like that.
Yeah, 20th century military.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20th century military. Yes, I think because it's close enough to be almost within touching distance from a historical perspective. But it's there's an awful lot in World War I as well that was revolutionary.
Yes.
And I find that really interesting to learn about. I started off being more World War II and aviation and everything, and then my mum got me to read Birdsong by Sebastian Faulks.
Right.
And no, Emily, I haven't yet. Just answering Emily's question. So, and that got me thinking about World War I more. So that's what got my interest into World War I, and I've been to a few sort of lectures on women in World War I, and it was one of those, it's sort of one of those eureka moments when you sort of realise that women actually did men's jobs in World War I. It wasn't World War II wasn't the pioneer for that. What the difference was is after World War II, they kept doing some of those jobs, whereas after World War I, they were all told to step back and let the men back, sort of thing. And it's not the gore of battle. It's not the testosterone and all right, this is the wrong era because this is Vietnam, but loving the smell of napalm in the morning and all that. Anyone who knows that film will know the line it's from.
Isn't it? There's more than just the fighting.
It's the social side.
At the home, and the people getting through the day to day, the people trying to get through life, trying to have a laugh if they can, just to get on with their day to day lives.
Yeah. And when you look at all the things that sort of came, I mean, World War I really was the start of aerial warfare. Hi, Lynn. Aerial warfare was World War I. So, and you look at, when you read accounts of what some of the pilots were having to do in combat in World War I, you sort of, I mean, there was one account I was reading, and I can't remember the pilot's name. He survived World War I, which is, again, unusual. And their machine gun was like on the top. These are biplanes. For anyone who doesn't know, that means the two sets of wings. Yeah. His chair wasn't like a comfy chair you're sitting in an aeroplane now. No. It was a wicker seat.
No.
Right. And the pilot, solo pilot, would have to fly. And because at this point they hadn't worked out the timing on the machine guns to fire through the prop when there was a space in the prop, obviously, so the speed of it, they'd mount them on the top. Well, that meant the cartridge, if it jammed, was on the top of the wing. And he's trying to fly with one hand whilst, I mean, I can't even imagine doing it, standing on his seat whilst flying in combat to unjam his gun. And he put his foot through the seat.
Yeah, which...
right. And then because he put his foot through the seat, he wasn't controlling the stick. So the plane started to spin.
Oh my God.
He's upside down. No seatbelts. He's upside down, hanging. He kicks the rudder. He kicks the stick, with his spare foot to flip the plane round. So he drops back into his seat. Then can't work out why he can't see anymore. Realizes the wicker seat has just collapsed underneath him. It's all still flying. He's still being shot at.
That's incredible. Oh my God.
And I'm reading this going,
how the hell did he get through that?
I mean,
yeah, you just can't. No.
I mean, I've flown aeroplanes. The thought of having to being upside down and holding on for dear life on a wing and kicking my stick.
Yeah, you can't. You
No.
can't.
No.
It's like for your head to be rational enough to, because you're trying to focus on holding on, and you had to be rational enough to, sort out the stick to get it right again. And
Yeah.
oh my God, no way.
I mean, it's. But when you start reading these stories, you're just like, okay, so without these people, you wouldn't have had the Douglas Barders, the Guy
Yes.
Gibsons, the Leonard Cheshires, all of those people. But yeah, it fascinates me. It fascinates me. But that's the problem with history.
No.
The more I learn, the more I want to learn.
Oh gosh,
I go off
definitely,
on one thing and I think, oh, that's interesting. That takes me off on another rabbit hole. And it's why I think it still has my interest. I've normally got bored with stuff by now, but because I keep finding new avenues down. Oh, we just clicked out then.
Yeah.
I keep finding it is going, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep finding new avenues to go down. So
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, there's trouble in Devon, sort of weather-wise as well. So we've got so many atmospheric conditions at the moment, haven't we? It's
Oh, we had thunder today in Essex.
Oh, did you?
Mm.
Oh yeah. Oh, blimey! It's been calmish today.
No, it has. It's been since about 12 o'clock. We were blowing a hoolie here in Chelmsford.
Oh my gosh.
And I think I was upstairs doing something, and I heard this rumbling, and the husband was home because he'd come home. And I was like, "Is that thunder?" And he went, "Yeah." We didn't get any lightning though, and it didn't last very long. But I thought it's not warm enough for thunder, surely.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's wow.
Right. The dog he's pulled the plates off the table and smashed one.
Oh God.
Do you mind talking amongst yourself for 2 minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll be back.
So Penny's dog's decided that the table has some plates on, and it's decided to try and clear the plates so that they don't go in the washer. So instead of clearing the plates by licking them, he's decided to knock one off the table as well. So hi, Richard. So if you have any questions for Penny, feel free to ask them in the chat. So Penny, as you know, is a great historian. She's so passionate about it, and she's written a number of books as well, which are available from Amazon. Oh, you had Thunder and Lightning as well. Yeah, nothing here, but I've actually seen it on the Facebook. Some of lightning today has been quite incredible looking, but not here, which I do like seeing it. So yeah, if you've got any questions. So I've seen Penny a few times. I met her originally at Haunted Antiques. She actually did a speech. I mentioned the Spitfire Girls, and she did a talk about Spitfire Girls there, and met her a few times at the Parameets as well. And you're going to be at the Parameet in Bank Holiday, aren't you?
I am.
So that'd
yes.
be good.
Sorry, there's blood coming from somewhere, but I can't work out where.
Oh no, Penny, are you okay?
No, it's the dog.
I know it's a dog. Yeah.
Like I can talk while I'm doing this. I do apologize.
That's fine.
This is so unprofessional.
It's all right. So it's always so stressful. Like I'm like that with my dog because, they don't tell you anything, do they? They just get along with things. And
well, I've just checked him over, and I can't find it coming out of his mouth, and he's not cut his tongue.
Oh, bless him.
Come here, Luke.
I don't know.
But yes, I am going to be at the Parameet. I'll be there on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And the Sunday. Oh, he has cut. He's got a tiny little cut in his tongue.
Oh, bless him. Oh, that's why.
Not that it's bothering him.
Quite a bit, doesn't it? From sort of now. Yeah, because Kate Sherrill's on then, isn't she?
She is. Yes.
I had a quick look at the guest list for the Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that again. And
yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there the Saturday and the Sunday because I've got to be there on Saturday night because I'm up for a bloody award.
Yeah, congratulations, so am I.
I was so shocked. I was so shocked.
It is so awesome. I'm so pleased for you.
You're
brilliant at what you do. You really are.
I was stunned. I mean, it means I've got a personality.
You have. Like, Karen said something. I put on my Facebook page about, has anybody got any questions? And I put 2, hoping people would add to it, but they didn't. They just liked. And Karen said, oh, yeah, the way your face lights up when you mention history. So that's personality. Rocky's okay, he's snoring, Tar. Oh, it's going to be
Yeah.
great to see you. Like when we arrive on the Friday, like I get there on the Friday. I guess you're going up Saturday. But
No, I am getting to Hinckley on the Friday, but I'm
yeah.
bringing the teenagers because he wants to work with the Haunted Happenings lot and see his
Oh my
other mum.
gosh.
Well, actually, I
Yeah.
think he's got quite a few other mums because I know Vicky has claimed him for her own
Oh, Vicky.
as well.
They're all brilliant. I love it. And last year, the team, I'm sorry, when they came down for the party.
See, I didn't see that.
Undertakers.
I didn't see the ghost thing.
Oh, it's just, yeah, it's incredible. Have you visited the Imperial War Museum?
Have I? We presume we're talking the one in London, because obviously they class all of them as you've got the Imperial War Museum that's up in Manchester, which I haven't been to yet. Yes, I visited the one in London. In fact, a friend of mine used to work there. And
oh wow, incredible.
Because for anyone who doesn't know, the building where the Imperial War Museum is in London used to be the Bedlam lunatic asylum.
Wow.
Did you not know that, Jack?
No, I don't go to London. I've only been, most of the times I've been to London, I've gone to Wembley and that's it.
Okay.
I think I've only been in the city about 3 times.
Okay. So,
I need to go.
You do, because the Imperial War Museum's free. Or it was last time I went, and there's not much free stuff, is there? But yes, it used to be the one of the incarnations of the Bedlam mental asylum. Wow. The original one, I believe, was roughly where Liverpool Street Station is now.
Oh, okay.
And my friend who used to work there, he said that until relatively recently, you could actually still find the like immersion baths that they use to do water therapy with the patients.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But they wanted they wanted to fill them in because they decided they weren't safe. And I was like, could they not use them as a display or something to show?
Yeah, just show what
because
that
Bedlam is such a famous. I mean, it was the Royal Bethlehem officially, but it was known as Bedlam. It's where the term came from. And he said, yeah, quite a lot of them wanted them not to, but they were just looking at money, and they didn't want to be reminded of its past, which is one of my bugbears about certain periods of history. Things like the workhouse movement, the asylums, the Victorian asylums. People, I don't know, which one are you talking about? Stomaris? As far as I was aware, that was still, I don't know if they were doing some restoration work on that, but I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Terry. There's quite a few. Yeah, I mean, to me, when I've looked into the history of the Victorian asylum movement, because it does kind of fit in with the workhouses and everything else, because it was all to do with providing help. A lot of it was to do that you had poor union asylums, basically.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? Yeah, we don't really have anything about it in this country yet, because everyone goes, oh, it was bad. They locked people up in rooms. They threw them in cold water, everything else. They didn't have medication then. I mean, Emily's a psychology person. She should probably be able to confirm for me. We didn't have
Emily's got a suggestion for you. There you go.
I know. I might have already considered that.
Shh. Secret. We didn't mention anything, Emily.
But yes, that is a possible idea. But yeah, medication, I'm not quite sure when things like lithium and stuff started being used, and sedatives and things like that. Yeah. But no, it wasn't in the 1840s, 1850s. And I can't remember the statistics on this because I've been researching something else today. But the brain only goes so well at my age. I have to remind myself.
Me as well. I'm terrible.
But when you look at the amount of asylum places that were created under Queen Victoria, and yes, there was possible to get someone into an asylum for the wrong reasons. Yeah. Like if you decided you didn't like your wife anymore and she was going through menopause and you decided she was a bit of a psycho, yes, it was possible to get her hospitalized if you had a couple of doctors on board. But an awful lot of people who were in them were ill.
That's right.
They were
I found that out with
there.
Denby. I did go to Denby. I did view the asylum, but obviously I couldn't get near it. But I went up Denby Castle and you got a brilliant view of it. And then I sort of got closer. But as I was looking at it over the wall, because there's a bit of a field in front of it, then you can see quite a bit of the estate 'cause you're on a bit of a hill. A person came by and he started talking about it. But Denby, they love that asylum. They miss it. And a lot of people either work there, like they've got the asylum. He said, oh, there's a surgeon's house. There's a midwife's house. And like the people live near it as well. And
it wasn't all bad. It's like a lot of these things. It's like when people sort of call me, what was the best insult I've had for talking about the workhouse? Oh, that I was a white supremacist Nazi, because I was trying to explain how the workhouse operated. And whilst I'm not saying it's brilliant, it's wonderful, everyone would want to go there, that was the whole point. You weren't supposed to want to go there. But and they look at the diet. Oh, what a bland diet! What an awful diet. Well, if you were that poor that you were lucky to eat 3 times a week,
yeah, that's right.
The fact that you were getting
chips, it was something, yeah,
exactly,
and they had to feed so many people.
Exactly. So when you look at the asylums, it's. I mean, again, Emily would know more about this than me because she's doing a PhD in forensic psychology. Is it Em? I can't remember, but it's the treatment of these kind of mental health things is so in its infancy compared to some other areas of medicine. I always say that I reckon in 100 years, doctors are going to look back on how we treat mental illnesses now and go, oh my God, why did they think that would work? Same as we look back 100 years ago, oh my God, why? I mean, the other one goes even further back when people used to go to the original Bedlam when it was at Liverpool Street, and they would pay to go and look at the lunatics, for want of a better term. Oh my God, how awful. It was a freak show. It was. Who do you think was paying for those freak show people to be cared for and safe? There wasn't an NHS. A lot of the hospitals did this so that they had money coming in.
Wow.
To look after them. Yes, the treatment was shoddy. Yes, it was nothing more than they were chained to a wall so they couldn't hurt themselves or somebody else.
Yeah.
But it meant they weren't going to get attacked in the outside world. And and that's what I mean when I said about I can give you the logic behind some of these things. I'm not saying it's the best way of doing it, but it was a way. Yeah. When it comes to going back to the Holocaust, I can't find any logic. No, I cannot find
totally not.
Anything to say. Yeah, I mean the only thing when we were watching that Panorama thing last week on the Holocaust, and Will, my eldest, was saying, well, why didn't people stop it? I mean, people genuinely didn't know, because you didn't have the internet, you didn't have like how easy we can communicate. You couldn't just grab your phone and text your neighbour and say, guess what, they're burning people next door.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. And I still, they would misinformation. They were told, and also an element of.
You got Pathé News coming through, whatever, as well, because that had to be tried to be as positive as possible, didn't it? And like, oh, we've done this, we've done that.
There was a film I watched weekend before last, and it's in German, Polish, Yiddish. Oh, there was another language. It's called A Zone of Interest, and it's basically Rudolf Hess, who was the commandant of Auschwitz, and it kind of follows a bit of his story and his family in their house. And I can honestly say, if you can cope with subtitles, it's an incredible film. I think it won Oscar last year or the year before for best foreign film. But yes, it's incredibly uncomfortable to watch, but the way it's been done, because I thought, how could you live in a house next door? Because his house was next door to the camp. How could you live in a house next door and seeing the hearing the trains coming in, hearing screams, and the way this film is done, I'm not going to watch it. Just get hold of it. I think I got it on. I think I got hold of it on Prime on Amazon.
Okay.
But it's called Zone of Interest. Like I say, it's in Yiddish, Polish, German, because they so you would have had sort of Jewish people speaking Yiddish. You had the Polish people who were working for Hess and his family speaking Polish, and then you had Hess and his family speaking German.
Wow.
But it's a very, it's, yeah. And it's quite interesting. Her mother comes to visit, and she's going, oh, you know, such and such a family. I wonder if she's in there. And the daughter's like, oh, I don't know. She could be. She goes, well, I wanted her curtains when they took her away, but somebody else outbid me for it. But I got such and such.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was thinking, that is how it was. I mean, you know, the people who
You're
remain.
still living. You're still getting through the day to day, and I guess you've got to block it all out your mind, haven't you?
They were like vultures. But the thing was, because they'd been conditioned to believe that these people were the reason that Germany was weak, that Germany, you know, inflation was high, and I can I have to be careful when I'm talking about this, that people don't think I'm advocating for it, because I'm really, really not.
Yeah.
I just try and see the logic as to how people could think that way.
Yeah, you can't. It's not. Yeah.
But I can't think how. I mean, the thing is, though, when you look at some of the head honchos, they. I mean, wasn't it one of them was a pig farmer or a chicken farmer? Was it Himmler?
Sure.
I can't remember. Somebody in the comments will know. I'm sure one of them was a pig farmer or a chicken farmer. And you look at what their backgrounds were. None of them were particularly intelligent. None of them were particularly sort of powerful people before they got that uniform.
Oh, right, yeah, and then obviously,
and they get that uniform.
Just goes to the head, doesn't it?
Yeah. I just say I struggle to.
Yeah.
I don't think it can be rationalised.
Oh God, no. My ex's grandfather was a prisoner of war. He's like one of the Stalag camps, and I didn't even know about the tattoos. And then one day I just saw it on his wrist and thought, shit, what the hell's that? You know, and you kind of realised what it was, because you know you put two and two together and you realised, and you know, to have a permanent marker, you know, like not only have you got to live with that horrific memory, and you know, like I think what got me like today more than anything was the fact that they sort of said, oh, you know, they all went and then they got separated, and they knew that people had gas chamber or whatever, and they knew, but like for a lot of them, they'd never know, would they? And this is the thing, you know, like you said about the communications, like, you know,
I know at
got
Auschwitz,
a family, they just go everywhere, and that's it.
I know at Auschwitz, there was, and I think still is, a team of historians who are constantly trying to uncover identities.
Yeah.
Because I used to know someone who was doing that. The problem was the Germans trashed as many of the records as they could so that nobody could tell what they've been doing. I don't think anyone knew that they were being taken to their deaths at the time. They were just being told they were being separated.
Yeah, I was watching it, you know, like, you know, they arrived and they asked, it's sort of sad about the girls, like this young girl, I think she was under 15, and somebody sort of said, you've got to say you're 15 or over. So they asked her age, and she said she's 15. That was it. So she did something, you know, if she'd have been under that, then she'd be no use. And
unless she had a talent. So you had one girl, and I can't remember her name, she survived because she was a very talented, I think she's a cellist. And they selected her for the band, for the orchestra.
Yes, that's it.
But you were still, I mean, to answer somebody earlier's question about anything at the Imperial War Museum I picked up on, yes, there is a few bits there, but there's also, when I last went there, they were doing a Holocaust exhibit. I think there were artifacts from Sobibor. I want to say it was Sobibor. Might have been wrong. I know it wasn't Auschwitz. I'm pretty sure it was Sobibor. I am quite an emotional little thing. I do get upset quite easily.
I was getting upset today. It's just
the thing that got me were the shoes. They had a cabinet full of shoes, and one of the pairs of shoes were tiny, like that long. little girl's shoes.
Oh
I'm presuming
God.
it was a little girl.
Yeah.
And it still had the footprint mark, like the sweat mark from the foot inside it. I thought I'm getting upset now talking about it. And that, I just stood there and cried. I didn't sob, I didn't wail. I had my sunglasses. I put my sunglasses on because I just had tears streaming down my face. And it was a pair of shoes. It was these shoes, but it wasn't just the fact they were shoes. It was the fact you could still see the mark of her foot.
Yeah, it wasn't an object. It gave it. I'm not saying the personality. You know, you can see. I think she's frozen at the moment, or I have. So we've got a bit of adverse weather in England at the moment, and Penny may have a storm. I don't know if you can see me or if you can see Penny. I'm not quite sure. So if anyone's got any questions for Penny, I'm not sure who's on. Oh, I'm not sure who went, if it was me or you. So I was just waiting for a comment.
I say, I think the weather, if anyone's not in the UK, the UK, we've got another storm coming through.
I've got heavy rain at the moment, so I can hear that at the moment. So
I can't remember what I was saying, but yeah, it was just the shoes, the fact that this little girl was never going to get any bigger, and it was like her footprint was, that got me more than, and then it led me down the path of, if that was my little girl, and we were being paraded naked into the showers, and then suddenly you realise you're not actually having a shower, because they were mothers found clinging to their children, like holding them as tightly as possible. All right, everyone blame me. I'm sorry.
Oh, bless you.
Attack the historian. Why don't we? Oscar Schindler did save many children, but there was others. I mean, I can't remember who's the name of the guy. He was an English guy. He came up with the kinder transport. They made a documentary about him. Oh, somebody would know. He did the kinder transport, where they brought loads of children out early on. There was also a guy.
The Schindler. Not Schindler.
He wasn't Schindler. He was a British guy.
Right. Okay. I'm rubbish on history.
Somebody in the comment, look it up for me.
I guess Wayne will know. Wayne's good on.
I'm sure Wayne will know. Yeah. There was also a chap in it's one of the Eastern Bloc countries. He saved a lot of Jewish people. He got them to hide. It is where I am, Wayne.
It is here as well.
God, the sun always shines on Sedon, doesn't it?
I always wonder about going, Jim. I don't know. It's one of them, isn't it?
It's one that I do want to visit one day. My husband and I
kind of feel that you ought to go, but oh my God,
I just need to do it when I'm in a good place, if that makes sense. Because I think otherwise I'll just be, and I genuinely mean this, I'll be so depressed afterwards.
Just seeing the images today. So before I sort of came online, I was watching it, and they're showing images, and no, it's just, you know, you don't understand the scale of it as well.
It's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing really is.
Absolutely terrifying. I'm looking up that guy's name now because it's annoyed me.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, we just hope that people just try and learn, and that's it. But things have happened since, and
I'm sure Anthony Hopkins played him in a film of his.
Oh, I probably saw that film because I do like him.
Wayne knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah, most children books in the UK.
I can't think who it was, but yeah, I mean, there were people who definitely.
Oh, well, bye.
They definitely did.
Nicholas Winton.
That's the one. Thank you, Andy.
Hey, cheers for that, Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Nicholas Winton. I mean, there were a lot of people who did try and help. And Gary saying the no birds. Yes, my uncle, who was RAF, he retired from the RAF sort of 20 years ago. Yeah. He went, And he said the minute you step through the gates, nothing grows and you don't hear any animals, birds, anything until you step back out again.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
But things, I mean, people do need to remember, because there's too many people denying it. There's more and more people denying it ever happened, and that it's fake, and that, what was it? It was actually one of Hess's children before she died. She turned around and she goes, "How could my father be responsible for killing so many Jews when there's still so many of them alive?"
Wow.
She never believed that he could have done it. And you sort of, yeah, but it wasn't just Jews. This is the thing that I was trying to.
It actually sort of caught up in it, isn't it?
It was Roma gypsies. It wiped out the Sinti gypsy race, Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals, people who are mixed race. There were so many people thrown in. The Jews was the biggest group.
Yeah, that's it.
Persecution, but it wasn't just they. But yes, too many people deny it happened, and I will throw fists down when people do that, because I'm not Jewish. I've got no Jewish heritage, whatsoever.
But it's shocking.
Jars me to the core that people could say, "Nah, didn't happen."
They are on about teaching it more in schools now, and they definitely need to in some way, because society is so, the way society is now, I think people need to sort of get some sort of understanding of what the real world.
I think the problem is with schooling now, it's too, let's not upset the little darlings.
Exactly. And this is what's getting more
hey Ryan,
so frustrating, isn't it? Hiya.
He's my brother from another mother. Yes, there's too much trigger warning, too much this may upset you, too much letters to parents saying, if you don't want your child to watch this, please feel free to not send them in. And it's like, no, because life isn't all hearts and flowers. Life can be pretty diabolical. And I mean, I've even managed to teach my 11-year-old who's on the spectrum about some of this. It's the way you explain it to them, the things that you show them, the way, and I think it's our job as the outgoing generation, I suppose, to make sure the next generation are aware of some of the cock-ups that have been made in society.
That's right.
I mean, Will and I went to, my 15-year-old, we went to Shepton Mallet back in the summer, just like a day trip, because we were staying down that way. And one of the sales was talking about the suffragette movement. And he's like, I've heard of it, but explain it to me. So I was explaining to him about the suffragette movement, and the fact there was two sides to it. There was Millicent Fawcett's side, that was the more passive lobbying, and then you had the Pankhurst side, which was the chaining themselves to fences and blowing things up,
which is the one you hear about more, isn't it? The Pankhurst side.
Yeah. Whereas Millicent Fawcett is the one who's got a statue. Millicent Fawcett is amazing. She's someone that more people should talk about. But and so I was explaining all that to him, and I can keep his attention for about 15 minutes on history before he goes, bored now. But I still try and get as much through as I can. Yes, I've been watching Rogue Heroes.
I've been watching that. It's been
Well, Chelmsford has actually got a link to the SAS.
Oh wow! Okay.
Shut up, Wayne, because you probably know this one.
Wayne knows everything.
I'm determined to find something he doesn't know. Anyway, yes. So Highlands House, which on Highlands Park, which is where V Festival, and everything else. Yep. Towards the end of the Second World War, so I think from about mid 1944 onwards, it was actually SAS L Detachment headquarters, whilst they were preparing for the D-Day landings.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And Paddy Mayne, who is played by Jack O'Connell in Rogue Heroes,
absolutely awesome.
Love Jack O'Connell, but not great casting because Paddy Mayne was about 6'4", and built like a brick proverbial. But
Right.
I do love Jack O'Connell, so I'll allow them
Yeah.
that. He actually he liked a bit of a beer, well, a whiskey. He was Irish, and he got bet if he could drive a jeep up the staircase in the hall. The staircase still exists. He got it part
Wow.
way up, and then it jammed. And the owner of the hall, she was still living there. That was the deal, and he basically went all sweet talked her and had a cup of tea with her and told her to get back to bed and told the men to dismantle the jeep in the morning because she couldn't move it. That's a true
Wow.
story. True story.
Yeah,
So
I know.
yeah, so
what happens when people have drinks? Yeah, madness.
yes,
But yeah,
yes.
funny.
So I'm just going to mute myself for a second because my
Oh,
husband's
bless
just got
you.
home and I want to check on the
Yeah,
dog. So
check on the
sorry,
dog. That's
people.
fine. Yeah, that's okay. So if anybody has got any questions for Penny, please go ahead. It is incredible. Like, I sort of get things through on investigations, and I got some information through the other day, and it's how you can actually prove that information, isn't it? When some of it won't even be in the history books, and because families were sort of hiding things as well, like things can happen, you can pick it up mediumistically, but you'll never get the paper what actually gives you that information, and sometimes you can't even get the record of the people. So Gary went to a hotel in Lincolnshire where Churchill planned the dam busters. Lang was old RF base as well. Oh, wow.
Something spa. Oh, Bluminek.
I don't know that one. Not Woodhall Spa, no.
Woodhall Spa, yeah.
Really?
I'm wondering if that's the one he's thinking of. I don't know.
Really? I go camping there. There's a beautiful campsite around
Yeah,
there.
they like talking about ghosts.
Oh, wow. Okay. So no talking about ghosts then, Gary?
No, I've tried. Somebody I knew worked there. See, Gary, I know my stuff. It's very near to Scampton. It's very near to RAF
Oh, yeah.
Scampton.
Yeah, I was actually staying near there recently.
No, they've got loads
Lakes.
of. It was also used. A lot of the officers from Scampton used it during World War II, and it's got like loads of pictures up in memorial of the dam bust. Well, 617. 617 Squadron.
Yeah.
I already said that, Andy. Keep up.
Yeah.
Keep up.
I went there at New Year.
But yeah, I have tried to get them to allow an investigation, but they didn't.
You see, come on. Wayne always tries to get in there, doesn't he?
All right, I'm going to one up you on that. I flew gliders at RAF Tibenham, where Jimmy Stewart, the actor, was based.
I beat that, Wayne. Game on.
Yes, RAF Scampton. Yeah, 617. I think it's 617 Squadron.
Yeah, I think it is, Ooh. Oh, so yeah, I'll have to sort of head that way then, because when I was down at Tattershall Lakes, I sort of came back and was sort of trying to work out where to go, which was interesting, and I ended up going to a couple of abbeys, which were great, but I didn't know. Well, you don't know what's hidden, do you?
Well, Kate Sherrill keeps saying to me, "Come up to Lincolnshire, and she'll take me on a bomber base tour of Lincoln, like ones that aren't so well known as well." She knows how to sweet talk me, does Cheryl.
Yeah.
But Scampton is one that anyone asks me my dream location to investigate, an RAF Scampton.
Yeah.
And I've tried so many times. I even got James Holland to try and allow them to let me in, and they kept saying no. Andy, yeah.
It's the internet, Andy, honest. No, I am good with the comments. I'm keeping up this time, which makes a change for me.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's all these men feeling threatened that I know this stuff because it's military.
Yeah, they're all at it, aren't they? Yeah. Let's get in before Penny. But I'm just shocking. I don't know how you remember all this history, because I'm just shocking at names.
I don't know how I remember it. I don't remember my own name at times, Jack.
Oh, wow, God, names have always been dodgy with me, but now it's even worse. Shocking, but what can you do? But it's just
I
one of
know.
them.
Everyone's mate or love these days until I hear someone else say their name. Oh God,
You
that's
just go,
what it
hi.
is.
Like, what's your name? But yeah, it's just one
All
of
right,
them.
Wayne. All right.
Oh, Jesus. Only 1,000 miles per hour. Really?
Have you done aerobatics in a tiger moth?
Oh, no, we're not, are we?
I have, but
Well,
no.
I gathered you had, you wouldn't say it otherwise. Yeah, so let's see what Wayne beats you on that. Yeah. But when you sort of disappeared again because, just trying to... I think now with podcasts, we're still like struggling so much with the internet, with StreamYard and everything, and it's just looking to get a show out now. RAF
It is RAF privilege. Yeah, it is. I know that's why he's got to do all this stuff. It's, it's all anyone who, I have to say, I do know quite a few of these guys. I'm teasing. It is genuine.
Yeah.
It is genuine teasing.
Yeah,
but,
I know that. Yeah.
All right, one plane you won't go in is a tiger moth. Oh, you wuss. It's good fun. Good fun going like upside down when you've got no canopy over your head.
Yeah.
Are you just hoping the straps work?
There's that recent canopy issue. Did you see that? I think it's a female pilot.
All right.
So over the North Sea, I think it was last week, went out on a tornado, Wayne, you'll know. Went out on a tornado, I think. And over the North Sea, the canopy came off. So they had to come back in.
Can happen.
And yeah. So
well, when you eject, the first thing is the canopy releases. And then you eject. Not that I've ever ejected. I don't know if Wayne, if you've ever ejected, but no, I've just obviously watched it. Yeah, so the canopy can break loose. Yeah. Be a bit breezy at 700-800 miles an hour with no canopy, but
but they sort of landed it okay, which was good. But everyone was there with the photos. It's where the memorial flights run from. It was there.
Wayne's just answered you. It's a typhoon.
Typhoon. Oh, okay, whatever. Yeah. Sorry, Wayne. I'm really good at things like that, obviously. But
it was a fast jet. Just quantify that. It's a fast jet.
It got wings and it moved in the sky and it lost something and it fell off and it landed. So it's all good, isn't it? And it's a woman pilot, so it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure
everyone said he.
I'm sure there was some I'm sure there was some dickhead who was saying it's because she was a woman pilot and all of that, but
to land it's good enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it would, wouldn't it? Dear me.
It would. I think I'd rather lose my canopy than have a bird strike, though, if I'm completely honest.
It was the bird strike what caused it.
Oh, that caused her to lose her canopy.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, bird strikes.
As long as you shot the right one down. God's sake.
Yeah, bird strikes. No, that's
it was a bird strike. What did it?
Yeah, not great. Not great, but flying is actually incredibly safe for anyone who's scared of flying. Flying is actually incredibly safe.
Yeah.
Just if you're a little bit scared.
You haven't got any morons to bump into, have you? Whereas on the road, you've got people. Well, morons.
Oh yeah.
On the road, you've got people coming out at you left, right, and centre. Not paying attention, not seeing that you've got a great big car and the size of them, and they just pull out on you.
No, I'd say I would have.
Or whatever.
But I would
up there, you're on your own, aren't you? Really,
there's nothing. Happily go up in an aeroplane.
Yeah.
But yeah, all I would say is if you're a little bit scared of flying, don't read about the early aviators from about 1905 onwards.
Oh wow.
Because you might not ever want to get in something with wings again. But actually, talking about museums, a good one to go to if you're ever in North London is the RAF Museum in North London. It's fantastic, and again, it's free. You pay like £7 to park there for the day, and you really can spend a day there. It's amazing. It's in North London. do I know any more on the king
Oh
that was
yeah,
found in
Richard
Leicester?
III.
Are we're talking about Richard III. What do you want to know, Gaz?
Yeah, found him in a car park, and
He
he's
was
still
found.
in Leicester. He's in the
Yeah,
cathedral
he's buried
now,
in Leicester Cathedral.
Yeah.
Beautiful grave. It's Swaledale limestone.
I've not been there yet.
Have you not?
I've done an investigation. I've been by the cathedral. I've walked by it, but it was
Have you been to the Guild? You've been to the Guildhall then? Next door.
No.
Oh,
It's Leicester Castle and around there, and it's like, well, I parked totally in the wrong place. I get in a mess in Leicester.
It's not an easy place, is it?
No.
When I did that's what I said, Shane. Swaledale limestone. Jeez.
Oh,
Type faster, people. Type faster.
it's probably StreamYard just being half an hour slow, but I am actually pressing the comments as soon as I come back, which is
I'm
a
seeing
change
them as
for
soon
me.
as they come up on the side.
Usually like half an hour late. So.
What was I going to say? Yeah, because I did for last year's Festival of the Unexplained, I did my mystery history tour at the Guildhall in Leicester. So I took half the group round there for an hour and a half. The other group, they had a quiz to do in the cathedral. So yeah, and if you go into, there's a Richard III museum just sort of around the corner from there.
Yes,
there's a viewing tower where you can see the car park. And I know a lot of people sort of laugh about it being a car park, but it actually was I think it was a Greyfriars monastery.
Right.
That's why one of the reasons he wasn't really buried. He was kind of dumped there by the Tudors. They didn't really care. But yeah, it's it was it's I must admit, when before I started researching Richard III, when I wrote my Bosworth book, I thought he was guilty of everything. But the more sorry, they're making me laugh.
Shane's my stalker, by the way. Aren't you, Shane? See you soon, mate. Oh my God, I'm going to see Shane tomorrow, maybe. Oh dear. That'd be nice.
What was I going to say? Yeah, so the more research I did into him, I did a 180 on what I thought about him. And I genuinely don't think he deserves the bad press he gets. And at the end of the day, he was a king, and he actually did stuff in the very short time he was reigning to help the poor. He wanted to change. There was a law off the top of my head that he wanted to change the law so that if somebody was being prosecuted for something, that they didn't have to stop working, because they had to give all their tools in and then buy them back. Well, then they also had a fine to pay, and they couldn't pay the.
God. Yeah.
And he wanted to change that. There's stuff that he wanted. He wanted certain things to be written in English. I know
Richard
French.
Felix often mentions that, because they go to jail, they're charged a fine, and then they can't earn the money, so they just go to jail again.
Yeah, where he wanted to change the rules so that you didn't have to, in effect, buy new equipment to redo your job once your court case had finished. But people forget about that. And also when they say, well, he killed his nephews, and my argument is, why? If he wanted to eradicate his brother's line, why didn't he kill the girls as well? Because the girls could have given birth to a child that could have then challenged him down the line. So he also never asked to be king. He never asked to be king. He idolized his big brother. So I think it's he's a fascinating one to. I do read stuff from both sides, like the people who are Tudorists and the people who are Plantagenets. I kind of read from both, but he wasn't. I don't think he was the criminal that Shakespeare made him out to be.
Yeah, some of the laws now he brought in, which there's a question I want to ask you though, and when you dropped offline, like I go investigating and I'll pick things up somehow, as does Gary Fields and whatever, and I get all this random information through. But how do you prove something happened? It's only then you want to look into history. So obviously, me being me, I look on Google, but
Yeah.
it's not really a brilliant source, is it?
It's somewhere to start.
It starts, but how? Okay, so specifically, I went to a former Methodist church.
Mm-hmm.
It's now not, and I actually picked something up,
Okay.
and it's a method of punishment, and I just wondered if I could actually like read something somewhere about, if this could actually be a thing or not, really. And I guess in some ways, like if somebody's done something wrong, you can imagine them being taken to church to sort of plead the sins and stuff.
Possibly wouldn't think about it with Methodist, because I don't think they'd be old enough to have the more barbaric.
Yeah, but the guy had done something really bad.
I mean,
so and it's sometimes like how to find out something you get. And
how would I go about that?
It resonates. I've got somebody with dowsing rods who, you ask them you give them the wrong info to see if they go yes or no. You know what I mean?
Pendulum.
I test them out. And you're getting it, and then you think, well, you put it together and like, well, I want to prove this. How do you do that? I've got some information at Shepton Mallet. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
I spoke to a prisoner. I have information about him, and there's quite a few things about it which will be able to be found, but I can't mention it too publicly because it's from 1970s.
So actually,
exactly.
That would make it tricky because the record will still be locked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I mentioned it's Shepton Mallet, but obviously.
Yeah, so those records, anything probably at the moment post, depending on what it was, post 1965, it's very hard to get into the records because most of them are still sealed. That's when you can try and I use like newspaper accounts. I might try and, I've even done a Facebook appeal before for people who might have remembered something in 1970 odd. And that's actually come through, like it's been helpful. So, anything like that. I mean, if it's pre sort of 1960, there's normally records you can access. So the church one, the first thing I would be doing is looking at when that church was built, and who was responsible for it.
Yeah,
and then looking to
Wesleyan Chapel.
Okay, so no, I mean the person who was the preacher.
Yeah, there was. So
I'd look for that. Yeah, but then I'd also look at what was on the land before. What did the land have a use before? So, I mean, something I'm working on at the moment. The land was actually a monastery before these buildings were built on it. So. It's looking at all these different things, and I can't really tell you how I do it. Sometimes it's a gut feeling to pull on a certain string, if that makes sense. It's to pull on a certain lead that I found and see how far it gets me before I go, nope, that's not the right one. You have to pull on another one. But yeah, I would start with when was, as much of the property information as I can find. Find out who was the preacher there, or vicar, or whatever the technical term would be. And then if you've got the type of punishment, what it was.
Yeah, I was just trying to.
Google is a great place to start. I mean,
I was.
I tease people about using Wikipedia, but even Wikipedia is somewhere to start. You just have to double check it. So
you just don't take it all as gospel, do you?
Exactly. So if Wikipedia is listed a primary source for its whatever it's saying, double check that, access that. Most of them are accessible online as well. But I would say there's no sort of magic answer to it. It is literally just, how difficult is it to find out the history? The history of what? Sorry, I don't mean to be belligerent. The history of what? Some things are a lot easier to find out. I find
that's right.
The history of where you live.
There is something what tells you who lived at your house in certain years as well, isn't there?
What, census records? You've got census records, you've got voters roll.
Yeah, but there's something, it came up on Facebook, you could click on this and then 19 whatever, these were the people who lived at your house, and it gave the
Yeah,
names
I mean,
and stuff.
census is, you can get the census up until 1921, and then you've got the one they did just
That's
before World
probably
War.
what it came
Yeah,
from, yeah.
and then you've got the one they did just before World War II. So in effect 1939, because they wanted it, there's not actually a census, it was to work out who was living where and doing what. That one's open, but I mean, the census records were always 100 years old.
That's right. They are different.
I have been using voters roll recently. Some of those are a bit more recent. You can find those. If you're looking actually at the, I mean, even with a property. So, for example, when I'm doing research for Help My House is Haunted and they give me a property, I don't go straight in on the property. I look at the area that the property is in.
Yeah.
And sometimes looking at the bigger picture, the property will get mentioned. So, I mean, one of the, so when I did the one in,
okay.
So you're looking at, yeah, I mean, that's where your archive centres come in.
Yeah,
like, I don't know what part of the UK this place is in.
Chesterfield.
Chesterfield, okay.
Yeah.
I would find out who your archives are. So for me personally, I'm Essex. So Essex archives are based in Chelmsford, which is great.
Wow.
But yeah, find out where your local archives are and just go in and ask them. I mean, most archivists are so bored. They love getting a research job to do while you're sitting there, and they'll bring stuff out to you, and then you could be going through it. And that is a great way to learn how to look at different records, what things to. But I would go in with some things that you want to definitely find out. So maybe not just at this stage. I want to find out the history of where I live. Maybe find out why is it called Wingerworth Hall. What was on the land before this estate was here. So you might start with when was the estate built. Then the local authority should have some planning records from when the estate was built, who commissioned it, and you can kind of go back from there. It's not. I find it enjoyable because I'm like that, but it's not. If you get bored easily, it's not something that's you're gonna do in 30 minutes. It's literally building up a picture slowly as you find, and you but yeah, I would start off with decide exactly what element you want to find out, and then you can even contact the archives and ask them if because they can, some of them have online access, so you can see if there's any information before you go and visit, but you can contact them and say, I'm looking for this information, do you have anything on that I can book to come and see? And then they can arrange for you to go there and you can book to see the specific that's how I would do it if it was, and that's how I have done it before.
And it's weird, like, I ask these questions, but then when I was at school, we went to libraries. We used libraries, and they actually take you to the local historical area, don't they? Where you're sort of looking at this sort of thing, but then at school, you're not really into it as much. Well,
I was always.
You were always into it.
I wouldn't say always into it. Wayne.
Oh. Is that Wikipedia, Wayne?
Yeah. The other thing I would actually do, Shane, is go into the archives and ask them if they've got some old OS maps of the area.
Yeah.
So if Wayne's just done some research for us, you didn't know he's my research assistant, did you? Did you know that?
He's brilliant, isn't he? Oh, Wayne, you are brilliant. 1927's quite late. It's demolished in 27.
Yeah, demolished. All right, Shane already knew that.
I thought some of Wingerworth still existed.
I don't know, because I don't even know where we're talking about. But the other thing I would possibly do, Shane, is most archives offices have loads of OS maps from different decades.
Yeah.
And you can have a look at them. And they're quite interesting to see how an area has you're ex-military and you're Essex, Wayne. You cannot possibly get offended by this banter. And you lot were there when you were teasing me about Guy Gibson at Landguard Fort. Just pointing that one out. But yeah, so looking at OS maps, they're really good to actually see how an area has developed over time. And things that there's so many little things like that. But the archivists are so good at helping people with their research.
Oh, so I'm intrigued then.
Okay.
So basically, on my past life regression in Nottingham,
Uh-huh.
I remember seeing the street I lived on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an arch. It was a little arch which I used to walk, and then there's narrow streets, and I lived up. Must have been a slum house, a few doors down. But it's this arch, and it's how to find it in Nottingham. And there must be some way, like.
I mean, that would be literally just going through old photos.
Yeah, because I keep trying to Google for old photos, but I guess I need to go to
the archives. The archives, because I mean, I found this when I was doing research for my Epping Forest book. Some of the archives aren't digitized, and I was actually looking through, the old little negative photos that were in the cardboard casing.
A fish.
I was not a fish.
Oh yeah.
You know, the ones that used to put in a slide projector and it clicked round.
Slide, yeah.
I was having to look at some of them for my research. I mean, you wouldn't believe the stuff that, and also some of like old Victorian, like Victorian photos as well that haven't been digitized.
Incredible,
so it's a bit of a needle in a haystack when you're looking for stuff, but you do, when you find something that makes you go, it is you have to kind of got to do that, because I have squealed before in the archives when something has suddenly made sense.
Yeah, well, it is a like jigsaw though, isn't it? You know, you've got a jigsaw, you've got loads of pieces, and it's just like trying to find that missing bit which just puts it all together. And it's very much like an investigation, isn't it? You get bits and you're trying to put it together and your head's like working overtime, it's just one
never stops, Shane.
Which does it.
Shane has said it makes you want to dig more. It's what I mean, that you can't it's a rabbit warren. I mean, I can say that because I live in Chelmsford, so I can quite easily spend the day at the records office when I'm researching for something. And I remember one time I went, and they open like one Saturday a month, and I'd gone there for opening at 10 o'clock, I think I got there for. And I said to the husband, I'll be home by lunchtime. It got to 4 o'clock. And he texted me and said, are you coming home at all? I was like, oh, no. I didn't realise what the time was. And he's like, Penny, it's getting dark outside. Oh, yeah. I just, because I was finding one piece that was leading me to another piece. It was leading me to another piece. I didn't even stop for lunch. I think I could stop to go to the toilet. That was it.
Yeah.
Because it's
incredible.
It's addictive. But, it does make you want to dig more.
Right.
Where's my favourite stately home church, abbey, cathedral? Can I include castles in that as well, Gaz?
Yes,
probably a couple of my favourite castles that are derelict. Kenilworth. I love
Kenilworth. Yeah, I don't know why, but everything's all about Warwick, isn't it? It's all Warwick Castle, but there's something special about Kenilworth.
Warwick Schmorwick.
I did a call. Actually, that's where I first met Gary Fields, at Warwick, and he freaked me out.
My tour for Festival of the Unexplained year before last. I did 2 hours at Kenilworth Castle for them. No, Kenilworth is something's about Kenilworth. Another one I love that a lot of people haven't heard of is Middleham Castle in North Yorkshire.
I've heard of it.
A lot of people haven't. It's another derelict one. It's English heritage. It's actually was the home of Richard III for quite a long while.
Linking again. That's cool.
I mean, Richmond Castle nearby is fascinating as well. But I actually I find Middleham feels like a home. It doesn't feel like a castle, if that makes sense.
That's a weird thing. You get the castle, which is the fortress. Then you get the house, which is a castle. Like I went to Elveston Castle the other day. That ain't a castle. No, and it's just weird, isn't it, how they call things castles and.
Yep. Abbey-wise, I think my favourite is probably Fountains Abbey, again in North Yorkshire.
Not been there, but yeah.
Oh,
It does look beautiful, yeah.
there's something about it. There is just something about that one. Stately home. I haven't really got a favourite stately home, if I'm honest. I like I like things that are derelict. I like things
I
that
do,
I've got
yeah.
to use my imagination. They haven't made it look a certain way.
Yeah.
I mean, I find something in everything that I visit, because there's always something to learn everywhere you go.
Mm,
But I like things that have fallen down a bit,
I
or
do.
are a bit needy.
You know, 'cause there used to be this house, like, close to where I lived, and it looked like it was falling down. It had roses growing up it, and it was falling down. So then someone took it on, somebody made it all neat, and it's like, "Oh, okay." It wasn't quite the same anymore.
Mm.
And, you know, when it needs TLC, it's got character, hasn't it? And I don't know, it's just it catches your
I
eye
mean,
more.
there's loads of beautiful stately homes in the UK. There's loads of beautiful ones. But I mean, I don't know if Kyle's still watching, or he's had to go.
Yeah.
But his premises
I
in
need to
New
go there again.
Jersey, his premises in New Jersey, White Hill Mansion. It's, you can walk around it, but it is a restoration project, and I like that because I like the sort of neediness, the sort of,
Yeah.
it's not been made to look a certain way for you to think a certain thing. I mean, one of the ones I like to visit is the Workhouse Museum, Nottingham Way.
Southall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the
I
fact,
haven't been there either.
have you not? Oh, it's fascinating.
I'd love to go there.
They didn't like me there because they were doing a talk on workhouses, and
They were talking rubbish.
No, this kid asked the guide a question, and the guide didn't know the answer, and I did. And I said, I know that. Would you like me to answer it? And she wasn't very impressed. But I did ask first.
Oh,
The husband's
bless
going,
you.
shut up, shut up. I'm going, sorry, somebody's asked a question.
Oh.
Her question was, the kid said, she said, if you absconded from here in the workhouse uniform, you'd be arrested. And this kid said, what, for absconding? And she said, no, for stealing the uniform. And the kid said, so what happens if you absconded naked? I don't know, was her answer.
Yeah.
And I said, after asking, I did say, I'm pretty sure you'd still be arrested because it would be lewd behaviour, and all of that. He was like,
of course, yeah.
So you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
However, if someone had stowed some outside clothes and you changed into those and absconded, you'd have been fine. But anyway, but the thing I like about that place is, yes, they've made up some of the floors to look like it should have done, but then one floor they've just left with nothing.
Okay.
And you can actually see the bed marks where the beds would have been.
Oh my gosh, right.
Like the staining from,
yeah.
And I like that approach, like that sort of, rather than making everything look pretty.
Yeah.
Almost take it back to bare bones so you can use your imagination. And
yeah.
So I haven't actually got a stately home, Gary, but I hope those other answers are okay.
Yeah. But cheers. Yeah, but the topic is, you know, it just goes so hand in hand with paranormal, doesn't it?
I think so. They should be. They're married to each other. I don't know how you can be in the paranormal, and even if you don't enjoy doing the research, because it is laborious, and some people don't get the kick out of it that I do. Wanting to know the answer. That's
the thing, isn't it?
Mm.
So Gary's got Shotwick Castle, close to Chester. River Dee flow changed, or was changed by the Welsh, who were fighting at the time. When the first experience of seeing the night on a horse back from the castle.
Cool.
Oh,
The thing is, there are so many places. Whenever even if we go somewhere in the UK on holiday, I'm researching for weeks beforehand the places I want to make sure we get to go and visit. Drives the kids cuckoo.
Yeah.
But the husband likes it. I like it. And whilst we're driving them anywhere, they can do what we tell them to. But so I do sometimes plan, if we go away in the UK, I do sometimes plan a holiday because there's somewhere I want to to visit?
I always look because, like, when I'm touring Scotland, I look to see, what's going to be around where I'm staying. And I stayed in a castle grounds last time.
I saw the pictures, yeah.
Graffiti castle. How weird to actually put graffiti as it was odd, but yeah. And I just did go to so many places. It's because I met decent people who took me out, like Eileen Murray and Lois, and I went up to Inverness as well, met Highland Paranormal, and it's just great to meet these people, and they're taking you to their local areas. And like Eileen Murray, she knows so much history as well. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
And she will tell you about it, but I can't remember stuff like that. I welcome people to Nottingham. I go, oh yeah, there's that pub. It's that date. There's that pub. But yeah, I just don't remember things.
But that's not everyone's forte.
Yeah, it's not how my head works. Yeah, it's what it is.
You're still interested when someone else is telling you it.
Yeah, well, I'll be showing them where it is, because there are, like, Conjure Quest are coming soon, and I hope I'll meet them in Nottingham and take them around a bit. My city. There you go. Let's show you a few places. The caves, obviously. They're brilliant. And that's wrong as well, because a lot of them they've concreted up. I saw like an image from I'm on Nottinghamshire Historical Society or something on Facebook, and years ago under a pub they found this cave. That was it. It's gone concrete, and it is a shame, isn't it? And there is so much lost.
Some of this stuff they do brick up from a health and safety support point of view.
Right.
I know in Norwich there is a tunnel that leads from Norwich Castle, because it used to be the prison, to the courtrooms, I think it is, or something.
Yeah.
And it's they used to allow people to go and visit it, but it's so prone to flooding. The foundations have got damaged, so now they've had to shore it up, and you're not allowed down. The only people allowed down there are like, in effect, workers to check its safety levels. And it's a real shame, but I do kind of understand with today's litigious society.
Yeah,
if you were down there in the Booth Valley,
that's it.
They'd be getting sued for millions.
Dark, yeah. The
so
same happened in
that,
Derby as well, because there's a massive tunnel system under there. And back in the day, I think Richard Felix, Phil Newton used to go round, and do the tour like under Derby. But yeah, the council's just shut it off, because of health and safety. And
which I kind of
get. It is a shame, but it is still there at least. It's not been concreted in, which is one thing.
Well, I did offer with Norwich. I said, I'll sign whatever disclaimer you want. I'll get the husband to sign a disclaimer that he won't sue you if the cave. I'll get the kids to sign the disclaimer to let me go down there, and they still wouldn't budge. But
it's a shame.
It is a shame. But I think.
Oh yeah.
As long as stuff has been. Are you talking about the tunnels that are by Dover Castle? Because you can visit those. I'm not sure.
World War II tunnels.
Well, these aren't really tunnels in that respect. It's almost like. Did you ever do Drakelow?
Oh yes.
You know the way those tunnels are. It's more like that. They were used for Dunkirk, to organise Dunkirk at the beginning of World War II. My ears have just gone
ringing. My ears have just gone freaky. I just got a pressure build up in my ears, like freaky.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, Dover's. Are you back now, Jack? You back?
Yeah, my ears went funny. No, my actual ears.
Are they all right now?
Yeah, they just went.
Okay.
Oh.
No, yeah. Dover is. There's so much in Dover. You've also got a couple of old forts in Dover.
I'd love to see the forts down there. I really would.
Western Heights, something like that. I think it's Western Heights. No, something like that. But yeah, they in the Dover, because we're talking like a Victorian fort here. They had to get them down to the beach fast, and if they were walking, it was like a mile and a half, like round this, because it's right on the top of this big hill. So they built a tunnel that's got these two spiral staircases in, so they literally would go straight down through. And every so often they open it up, but it's not open to the public generally, because obviously it's a bit dangerous. But yeah, so to get them down to the beach fast, It's literally just this
Wow.
sinkhole that
Just
and
get
it's
down.
got
Wow.
two sets of spiral staircases, so two loads can be going down at the same
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah.
time.
It's like
Yeah,
Nottingham Castle as well, that's got a route from the top down through the sandstone to the pub, so they could always escape, couldn't they, if they wanted to?
Or if they were desperate for a drink.
Well, you've got that as well, which is more the reason, isn't it? Just
But
have a
yeah, it's
snooker.
because of how long it would take them to get down from the heights down to the beach. They built this literally, it's a vertical chute. It takes them straight down to the beach. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the heights is volunteer run. I think it is.
Yeah.
Interesting place.
But that's the thing. You just don't know what's on the land, and I keep showing things to Paranormal Path where you find things hidden, and it is fascinating. And maybe we do need to look at old maps more, because
I love them.
when I left my pub, I did take some prints of Nottingham. So I've got like 1200 map, 1400. So I've got 4 different prints of like how Nottingham City's evolved. And
it's interesting
that's so
to look
interesting
at.
because that actually it meets with 2 of my past lives. It's sort of all the pictures which were in the pub, it was those I decided that I wanted.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, where did I live? Let's just check. And then, when I have a look, you can see where the streets are close together. So I do roughly know the area, but it's just, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know why my ears went funny then, though. That was not normal. So
well, we were talking about Dover. I am the military magnet. Maybe it was someone trying to tell Penny she needs to investigate there. I don't know.
It was I'd got ringing in both ears at the same time and pressure, and it was just like, what the hell? It was, and then it's like a sound, like ringing, and really like Draco as well. Because I was there with Gary when he had a really dodgy experience there. So oh my god, Draco! But
I love Draco. I was quite gutted when they stopped doing investigations there.
Totally gutted. So many decent places. Draco, the kitchen.
There's so many out there though that I know there's teams, like influential people trying to work on them to open them up to the general public. Right. It's just time and also, I mean, I know when I ran a charity, it was to raise money for the airfield at RAF Timmenham, and I had people sending me really nasty emails about doing it because I should be letting them rest and all this, and and one of them actually wrote to the chair of the gliding club to say it's disgusting you're doing this, is gimmicky, blah blah blah, and he sort of said to me, how do you want to reply? I said, just reply to them. You can't force them to come through. It's not like you're going in and setting a bloody alarm clock to wake them up. I don't believe in God. Yeah, I don't call you names for wanting to go into a church. So back off. But that is the problem. And the guys here saying they're going blind. When you do as much as I do history-wise, it's really hard.
Yeah. But if you go back to a location, it's gone, hasn't it? Like I'm meeting Gary somewhere, and I haven't told him anything about it. And Andy Moore went there last year, and he got some incredible stuff through.
Yeah.
And I haven't released any of it because I am trying to find some information out. So there's quite a few mediums who have sort of taken there as part of an investigation, sitting there, probably have a meal in the pub first and then go over there and then just see. But that's closing at the end of the month. And it's another one going. It's a shame, isn't it?
I normally am the one who's done the history research before I go to a location, especially if it's an investigation I'm doing for a book or a project.
Oh, yeah.
But what I don't do is tell anyone else who's with me what I've discovered.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I did it recently. We investigated my tattoo parlour in Chelmsford, and I took my 15-year-old with me. We were doing human pendulum.
Oh, cool.
And we made it slightly different. So he had headphones on with white noise, so he couldn't hear us.
I've done that before, yeah. And blindfold, which
I know I didn't blindfold him. he shut his
hard on the
eyes.
balance. Yeah,
He shut his eyes, but it was
Yeah.
because he was preempting the answers. I could tell. So we did this,
Yeah.
and I asked a few questions that I knew about the area that the tattoo parlor was in that nobody else would have known. He couldn't hear me, and he got every single one correct. Like,
Yeah.
all right, there's a 50-50 chance, but it was correct. So I didn't tell any of them the historical stuff that I knew had happened. Quite a traumatic thing had happened on this particular site.
Yeah.
I wasn't leading the questioning, they were. And the stuff they were getting fitted exactly with what I knew. And I only told them afterwards.
Incredible,
the facts.
yeah. Yeah.
So it sometimes is useful having someone there who knows the history of the
I
place
have
when
a
you go in.
historian missing in my life. I need one. Like, a lot of the investigations I do sort of, I've just got a lot of mediums around me, basically. So a lot of mediumship driven.
But you need a historian who knows to keep quiet. And it's really hard. It's really hard to keep quiet when you go, I know what that...
And like you're trying to pin things together. You've got the jigsaw and you're trying to work it, and but God, when you get it, it's there, isn't it?
But really I'll sometimes say, just ask this question, or just, I mean, one of my favorite questions when you're doing like yes no work is, did you have a king on the throne? And if they say no, well, you're going to really limit their time period, because there's not that many queens. And then you can, if you've got somebody who knows the sort of the history of kings and queens of Britain, they can start naming the queens, and then you've got the time period. So it's little things like that, little things like that. But I think having someone who knows the history of the location is really useful, because then they can come up with trigger experiments that will work for the time period.
Oh gosh,
they can come up with the language that might work. But it's we're a rare breed, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, it is, because it does take a lot of work, but your head has got to be able to remember things as well, hasn't it?
I can't always remember everything, but I know where to find it, is what I say to people. I can't always remember the facts I want, but I'll know where to find it. Give me 10 minutes.
I think due to this conversation, I am going to head towards the library when I can. Not this weekend, because this weekend I'm going to Talbot and Oundle. So obviously there's a queen there who's yeah. So
I know the queen, the links that it's meant to be to Mary.
Yes, she gets everywhere. But and so what I'm going to do is sort of find out what's on the way there, and obviously it's just a beautiful place. I never realised. I just popped there because I knew I was going. I booked this ages ago, and I knew I was going, so I thought, I'll just nip to Oundle, because I was like 10 minutes down the road, Southwick Hall, I believe it was, which has got links with it as well. And it's just a stunning place. So I was spending a couple of days there. So nice. One night. But,
I say, just travelling around, you just never know. And actually, Wayne's just said they're good to have a note. Excuse me, good to have a notebook.
I
always have notebooks. I always have paper. I always have notebooks, and they've all got different things that they're used for. Because
awesome,
because even just if someone gets a name and you can't look it up there and then, you write it down.
That's right.
It's and that's the other thing that I always make sure. But I've actually never been to the Talbot. I do know, obviously, because Laurie N Jones did a really brilliant piece on it a couple of years ago, I believe, for Haunted
I haven't read that. I'll read it afterwards. Or ask her.
All to do with.
Or ask her.
Is she going to be there?
Okay.
So she should know, and I'm pretty sure that what's left of the castle where Richard III was born is not a million miles from there. It's literally just like 2 stones with a fence around it now, but I'm sure it's not a million miles from there.
I think I did read, because when I went to Southwick, I did kind of look to see what else was around. I think there was a castle. I'll have a look, definitely. I have got notebooks. This year because of Gary Fields, because he's got a notebook everywhere, he takes it everywhere with him. He loses his diary, mind you, but yeah, he's got his notebook.
Fotheringay Castle.
Oh yeah,
in
I've heard of that.
Northamptonshire.
Yeah. I don't know if I tried to visit it or something.
There's not a lot there. It's literally a field with a stone in it. But
I think I probably Googled it and thought, oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I remember it, but I can't remember if I went. But in my head, there you go. But yeah, so last investigation, I've got this notebook for this year. Great. First investigation went this week. It didn't go with me, so I had to borrow a pen and paper.
No, I always have. I mean, when I'm writing a new book, it's a bit sort of neurodivergent to me, but I start a new notebook for every new book I write.
That's good.
And that's all that notebook gets used for. It's that new book.
Yeah,
it's for
but at
notes,
least you're not getting mixed up, are you? Putting the wrong thing in the wrong thing, and then which page is that bit on? Or at least it's organised that way, isn't it?
And I have notebooks for all the help episodes I do when my research goes. I have a notebook for articles for Haunted Mag that I write the ideas in. It just helps keep my brain. When there's so many things, it helps focus me a bit.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I'm just I'm not good at writing notes, but we'll have a go. It is a New Year, I won't say New Year's resolution. It is something that I do want to sort of add to my ghost hunting kit, basically a notebook. So because it does come in handy.
They do. They do.
I started filming things as well, so I've got. Oh God.
I have no idea how many I've got in this house. I've got them in storage. I think I've done that many different notebooks.
Bless you. Yeah. Do you ever have to recover any?
Yeah.
And try and find it. Yeah.
Especially when I want to double check something. And but I say I know I may not know what the answer is, but I know where to find it in most cases.
Good.
So
it's handy, isn't it?
Yeah. And you'll be pleased to know Loki's fine. Wayne's checked him over and he thinks it's literally a tiny little cut on his tongue. But he's basically smashed a plate and then decided to lick the sharp edge clean.
Dogs. Mine, if mine did that, he'd be screaming.
Yeah. No.
He does that. It's
the German Shepherd bullheadedness in him.
Oh no, he screams like he went down in the garden and I don't think he did anything, but he'd got all of a sudden walking on 3 legs, this poor screaming like anything, comes running up to me. Oh, poor Rocky. Oh, he's fine. He starts running around the garden again.
Yeah. It's kids for you. It's kids.
Oh, I know. Very ones. Oh, bless you, Shane, and see you tomorrow night.
Thank you.
I bet you do have demons in your house. What you do. Yeah. But thanks for watching, and I think you all know Penny has written quite a few absolutely brilliant books. They're all available on Amazon.
They are, yes.
And so if anybody wants a book, then just look on Amazon. There's a Bosworth one I still need to get. There's Paranormal Playtime. There's one about Epping Forest.
Yep.
Paranormal Playground, is it? Yeah.
No, it's Paranormal Playground. The school that I've just completely forgotten the name of my book. Hold on.
Yeah, it was Playground.
No, Paranormal Playtime, the school that never sleeps.
I said Playtime first, didn't I? Then I changed it to Playground.
Paranormal Playtime, the school that never sleeps.
See,
all about the.
Right,
I forget the names. The British School Museum in Hitchin. Brilliant place to visit. Absolutely brilliant place.
Yeah, but thanks so much anyway. And
you're very welcome. Thank you everyone for listening.
I'm glad your dog's all right, because oh dear, what are they like? At least mine.
Seriously, when I saw the remnants of the plate, and I'm thinking, I don't normally bail on an interview, but when I saw the red stuff on them, and I knew neither of us had tomato sauce, so it's like, gotta go.
No, I would as well. You do. It's just natural, isn't it? But thanks everyone for watching and all your questions and joining with the conversation. That's been absolutely brilliant. But thanks everyone, and look after yourselves, won't you? And stay safe in the dodgy weather. Bye for now. Anyway, bye.